Now I'm very proud to introduce to you your moderator of the day, Varsha Balakrishnan. Varsha served as the secretary at CESA last term. She has led incredible achievements at CESA, and she has continued to be an inspiration and a dear friend of mine. Thanks, Varsha.
Thank you, Belle, for that lovely introduction. So we're now heading into the student panel where we'll hear from 7 students about their experiences and what they see have worked and have not worked in their time in Australia. Can I get all the students to turn on your camera, please? Okay, great. Okay, so the point of this panel is to hear from students what has worked and what hasn't worked, and some of the impacts and the successes of the programs that they have been involved with. I will start off with my first question, which goes to Longovuka. What are some of the programs or projects that you've been involved in that has really helped forge a sense of belonging and community for you?
Thank you very much, Varsha. Good morning, everyone. My name is Longovuka Misi, and this is my first year here at Deakin University. My year started out wonderfully, and I was fortunate to enjoy a fun orientation week in trimester 1, including just one introduction class before the lockdown. Since then, my classes have been online. I kind of liked the idea of having online classes at first, so I wouldn't have to wake up early and go to classes. But then loneliness and anxiety started to kick in, and most times I needed interaction with other students, not just to help me with my studies, but also for my mental health. Fortunately, I was blessed to be contacted by fellow international students who were being supported by several group projects, including involving wonderful people who were helping out international students. These groups included the St. Thomas Anglican Church, Cassie Project and Alex Meals, Full Gospel Assembly Church, and a local Bible study group. They were also very generous, providing us with delicious homemade meals and essential necessities. And they would even call us to talk with us and check on us if we needed anything. These people made me feel a sense of belonging and community. Sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
And these people made me feel a sense of belonging and community, and that there were people out there who cared for my health and well-being. So I would like to formally thank all supporters of international students for your care. You have made our stay here very welcome. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Longovuka. I understand that it's really hard to share your experience, and we really appreciate you taking the time and going through the emotions that you're currently feeling. We're all here with you, and we really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you very much.
Michael, would you like to share your thoughts and experiences on that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Varsha. And that was a good presentation, like Longovuka, and we're all here for you. So for me, I have been here for 2 years as a Monash student, and I just finished my last exam at Monash. So yeah, I'm a graduate now. Today, I'm going to share 2 main programs that I have been engaged with during these 2 years. The one is in campus and the one is out of campus. The one in campus is the Global Ambassador Program that I have been in this program for 1 year as a student ambassador. And we usually run some webinars and workshops to support students to help them settle into life at university and throughout their studies. During those the webinars with the students, I feel like a lot of thousands of students, they eager to get some help from senior students and to live a better life. during this overseas studies. And I have and they are looking for a lot of like suggestions from the peers, and I feel it's a good way that I can help them from different perspectives, especially for international students, because everything is super new for them in a strange country. And the other one I'd like to share here is stories collection. It's really a big such a coincidence. I just know stories collection is here today as well. um, I was the performer in this organization, and now is the project coordinator in this in source collection. That we perform our stories to support to encourage more students. And I was super so now in my master program that in the campus is work for international students. But in this organization, it's more like we work as an international student, and we speak out all our stories for a lot of hundreds, thousands of students. At the beginning, I feel so afraid to perform my own stories because I'm afraid of judgments. And I feel so lonely that no one present my story. But after that, as time goes by with more practice, I feel like I'm not alone at all. I feel a lot of like thousands of students behind me actually. I'm just the person to speak out their stories and to encourage them potentially. So during these 2 years, like I have been attending a lot of like programs and projects. It's a good like the I find my belongingness, and I feel like I'm looking forward to help more international students to find their belongingness in Australia. Yeah, just make use of your time, and yeah, make your life more colorful, and step out of your comfort zone, and you will see a bigger world. That's all. Thank you, Varsha.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for all that you've done to help other international students, pave their way, and those that are struggling. Really appreciate it. Rini, my next question is to you. How has COVID-19 impacted your sense of belonging and your feeling of being included in Australia?
Hi everyone. Thanks Varsha for the question. It was an excellent question. It's a bit challenging to answer. Before I continue with the answer, please I try to introduce myself. My name is Rini. I'm currently in my final year as a PhD candidate at Swinburne Uni. So I have been here for more than 3 years. I came from Indonesia and I'm here with my husband and 3 teenage kids. The eldest is 19 years old and just entered university life at the beginning of this year. I think the most important feeling when the COVID-19 was striking is the feeling that you are safe, secure for any uncertainties related to your future in every way. I mean, mentally, financially, and physically. In my case, as I am here with my family, I have to consider and make sure that my family are all safe mentally, financially, and also physically. At the beginning of COVID-19, I felt that the need of reaching out even more than we used to be to my family, my extended family, my best friends, community surrounding me as there was lockdown. And I was mainly concerned about their mental well-being. I was reaching out and contacting almost everyone, provide them with care by talking, phone calling, and Zooming. But then at some point in time of the lockdown, I just couldn't do that anymore. I still wanted to help, but I felt like drained and burnout. I was just frozen for quite some times, quite long actually. I could not do many things, could not think clearly, and felt that my future is full of uncertainty and making me scared. At the same time there, my husband and I lost our jobs as casual workers. that really complicate things. Then I realized that one day I also want somebody to listen. Just listen to what I was feeling without judging, without burdens. Before this COVID, I felt much pressures and depression too. Maybe because I'm an international student doing my PhD and here with my family too. And also pressure of earning money. And I try many different coping strategy with the help of a counselor from Wellbeing Swinburne. But the anxiety I was feeling, I think much worse as I'm in the final year and maybe there was a COVID and the lockdown too. That time I realized that I needed to seek helps. Lucky me that I have my student contact officer, Sharon and Marie from International Student Office at Swinburne. They were regularly checking on all of us international students. Talking through phone, Teams, and even have weekly afternoon tea time just to talk about about many things other than our study. Other thing that helped me to go through this COVID and maintain the sense of belonging is my supervisor, my family and friends. My principal supervisor often just email me and ask whether I'm okay, and she let me to reach her personally anytime, 24/7 if needed. During the lockdown, I was also inspired to create a WhatsApp group of bunch of procrastinators. Maybe that's what I'm calling myself in this pandemic. So that's what I'm sharing here. Yeah, it's challenging to all of us. And thanks, Varsha, for letting me share my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, really. It must be really hard for you to recount all of this to us, and we really appreciate you, going through all the emotions again and sharing that experience with us. And we hope that everyone attending today, has some takeaway from what you've shared. Nang, I'm gonna get you to go next and ask you to share how has COVID impacted you. I know you're back home right now, but you very recently left, so do share with us what your experience was.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Nang. I am in Laos at the moment, and here is 6:30. So sorry, I'm a bit late. Travel joining in. So yeah, I'm here safe and well. When I was in Australia, it's during COVID, as everybody else. So there are a lot of problems that happening. I have a lot of issue with my visa. I extend my visa for 5 times, and I also like my contract with the accommodation have finished, and I have problem with my family as well because they also get affected. Of course, I feel very lonely, and yeah, but I think it's a difficult time for everyone, but what I feel very fortunate is I feel the sense of belonging, and I feel so supported from the community. I have very good connection with my school. First and foremost, I get a lot of support from them, and at the same time, because I study community services, and I have very strong connection with the community. I feel that a lot of organizations that I get involved with have support me not only with food or with any support that I want, but also emotionally. It make me feel like I'm part of the Australian community. For example, the Power Neighborhood House near my house in the community. Not only support me with food, but also they check on me how I am doing. And my employment contract has aimed as well. I work casually, but then because I have connection with the organizations and I know people there, They also offer me employment opportunity and check on me with everything how I'm doing. So with that, it really leave me with the feeling that having connection with the organization in the community is very useful. It make you feel like you're not alone. You're not stranger. You are part of the community. And another thing is when I have problems or have difficulties, I have somebody that I can count on. I have some organization that I can count on, like with my placement as well, because I know people in the community. That's why I can get placement. While other students, my friend, they actually postpone their placement because they don't have connection. So I think it is very, very helpful. And what I would like to ask is if we as a student and as the community can reach out to each other to support each other, and I think we will feel belong and we will get supported, and we will feel that we are at home, because Melbourne is, I feel like Melbourne is my second home. I think the trouble is we don't reach out to each other. For example, before I do placement with Power Neighborhood House, I do placement and volunteer with different organizations, but I don't even know that it exists over there until I do placement with them. So I encourage everybody to reach out, because we will have support more than we actually imagine. It is very, very worth it to really connect with the community. And if the universities and institutes can also reach out to community as well, they have a lot of support that we don't even know out there. So reach out there. And I also would like to mention about the issues, not only in COVID, but also before, and I think after COVID as well, the discrimination. Because I don't really experience myself in terms of COVID, but I know somebody, she come from Hong Kong, and she get very terrible discriminations. When she walk on the street, people call her COVID-19. It's such, it's insulted. It's such horrible experience, because we know that everybody's scared of COVID-19, but she get called the name of COVID-19 just because of her color, just because of her skin, and it's not her fault. It's just something happening in the world. Nobody wished to have that, but she still get discriminated. I think that is one of the issue that is occur, and also sexual assault and excluded, especially employment, because some position mention you have to be Australian, but we are not Australian. I think that is still an issue in the community. But other than that, I think Australian is an amazing community. There are a lot of good people out there who can support in the community. We just need to reach out and connect to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Nang. And I'm glad to know you're safe and back home and well. Thank you for sharing everything that you've experienced. And I think it's really good to hear how the community has supported you, and how, there's so much value in community and institutions working together to support international students. I think you're definitely right that there is a lot of support out there, and international students might not be aware of it. My next question is to Shanaz. Have you engaged in community or city council based events? Do you know about such events happening, and do you feel welcomed to attend such events? Thanks.
Hey, thank you, Varsha. So good to have all the inspiring leaders here. Yes, so I did come across a few community engagement opportunities through local events, of course, virtually. And I got to know them because I volunteered actively when everything was in person. So they kind of needed more people to help and build that sense of community and engagement. Because, of course, when COVID struck, people had to move online, had to have their classes online, and there was lack of accessibility in terms of internet or maybe devices. So they needed more volunteers to facilitate that. So we held sessions how we could accommodate the different issues that internet had, how we could adjust and share the devices, and how we could like maintain our mental health and look after ourselves and well-being during the whole lockdown phase. So I got to know them because I was a volunteer with those organizations. But other than that, if you're a university student, the universities act really, really positively and actively. They try and they promote all the events that are out there for the international students so that we can get them to know what's happening and how we could support them and how we can be there for them. And I felt really welcomed initially to attend all of these events because as a person who has experienced how COVID impacts your loved ones, how it did struck my family, and I did know how it impacted my family and myself. So as a person, I know it has a big impact on your well-being, on your mental health, on your emotional well-being as well. So I realized that being an active part of more of these events, as someone who's experienced it, I could contribute better and make a difference. So as long as you are resilient, you're adaptable, you try and reach out, just as Nang said, everything will eventually get better. I wouldn't say it gets all right. I'd just say that if you are resilient, it gets better with time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanaz. And again, thank you for reaching out and for volunteering your time to help other international students and getting involved. It's people like you that help others that are going through a tough time. Despite you going through a tough time, it makes it worth all the effort. So thank you for that. Sanela, the same question goes to you. If you can share your experience and what you've been through. Thank you.
Hi, Varsha. Thanks. Thank you for that. I'm Sanila. I'm from Homesland doing my bachelor in accounting. So yeah, my experience during COVID-19 was quite harsh because moving from on campus, doing all your stuff face to face and then to online, it was kind of hard. But also what I experienced is I have a lot of support from Homesland who really help international students with regular call counseling. I've been having a lot of counseling session which helped me to go through this COVID-19 pandemic. And I have also been involved being a student ambassador and part of the student council. I felt how other international students are feeling. You're alone, you feel like you're not being taken care of, and we form this association to help other international students, to bring them together, to support them, and together with the International Center, we've come across some several events to help them to cope with this pandemic, which is really great, where you see that international students, they feel really alone, and they just feel, sometimes they just feel drained of being too much online. You just do your classes, your assignments online, and many of them lost their employment. So that was very hard to hear from them. And it was great also to see how the International Students Center at Homesland really supported them in terms of accommodation, food, and regular course, like I've mentioned before. So I really felt that students, we contribute a lot in the community, and I feel like we really deserve that our voice being heard. And like Nang mentioned before, as international student, Melbourne is our second home now, because we get used to the routine, the lifestyle, we live there. And as international students, we contribute a lot more in the community. So I've also volunteered with an organization called Star Global that helps international students across Victoria. So I've been able to engage with them from different universities. So it's not just with Homesland, but I've also interacted with other universities and typed with students who also lost their job, who really felt alone during this pandemic. So I feel like, for me, I can put myself in their shoes, being international students, being away from your family, from your friends, from people you used to catch up every day, even once in a while on campus or having a cup of tea. But with this pandemic, it was really hard, and I feel like many students felt that they've been left out. So despite having many communities out there, they don't know, like we've mentioned, we don't really know what's happening, what on the communities that have international students. So this is where I feel like there needs to be create awareness and more engagement that bring international students together and letting their voice being heard. Yeah, thanks, Varsha.
Thank you, Sanela. That's really important for everyone here. I feel that more needs to be done to reach students. Final question is for Hassan. What other projects would you like to see that would help you forge a sense of community and feel more included within Victoria or your own institution or the local community that you live in?
Hi, Varsha. Thanks for the introduction. And yeah, it's a really good feeling, and thanks for everyone to have me here today. As an international student myself and having faced discrimination when applying for jobs, I would like to touch on a bit about the stigma and discrimination against international students around this issue. This is my third year in Australia, and my journey so far has been very challenging. I consider myself lucky and fortunate since I was able to get an internship halfway through my course. But the story behind how I got it is something I do not think a lot of students know. So I met this director at a networking event arranged by Deakin and just introduced myself and had a chat with him about his journey since he was also a Deakin graduate. And I connected with him through LinkedIn as well. And after I finished my first year, I always, maintained that relationship. We exchanged messages back and forth. And when I finished my second year, I just said to him that I was looking for an internship. Do you have any opportunities in your company? And then he just told me to come to his office and have a chat. And things just worked out. So I didn't even have to apply formally anything. So that's why I do want to focus on the point that like there are people, I guess, who gives networking a very high importance, and then also when you apply formally through a lot of different companies, local engineering jobs. I don't know about other jobs, but I can only talk about engineering. Most of your application gets rejected because you're an international student and you don't have working rights. And that's something I guess isn't just fair because you come to Australia with all these dreams and goals, and at the end of the day, it comes to your working rights. So I guess what I would urge for councils and universities to do is to promote events during probably orientation, where they can focus on, giving international students the idea about how to approach for different jobs and not waste time looking for jobs that won't even take them. If that makes sense. I guess I can say that applying for jobs can be very time consuming, but the city councils could potentially help create a community for international students where they could focus on mental health support and hold sessions or workshops every now and then to empower students and guide them on how to get more involved with the industry and local government. They can hold more volunteer jobs and reward students with certification, gift cards, etc. And since almost most of my first year students aren't even aware of the councils and what they do. So holding workshops or promoting, as I said, during university orientation, since it's a great way to make the new students feel welcome and I guess make them aware of different opportunities at the same time. That's why I think if universities and councils starts working together, better opportunity would definitely potentially arise. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, Varsha.
I think that's extremely, like you hit the nail on the head there. Everything's out there. We just need to start, working together. There are a couple of questions that came in from the poll. I'm just going to read them out and take them really quickly just because of time. First one is, if there was one thing that you wished you knew that would have really benefited you and made life easier when you first started as an international student, what would it be? I've been in Australia for 6 years now, and I think just summing up what everyone had said, we did not realize the stigma and discrimination that we would receive when we came here. The impression was that Australia would be extremely welcoming and, you know, supportive of international students. While the universities have been, I think Hassan just mentioned that, you know, the reality of, you know, trying to find placement and jobs, and, you know, when Nang shared about, you know, walking on the street when COVID hit, the discrimination and stigma is there. We don't know when we will face it, and we never expected to face that reality when we came here. And that's something that I don't think anyone could really prepare anybody for, but we were painted a really rosy picture of what Australia would be. And when we came here, the reality, sadly to say, it was not really picture perfect. And just quickly wrapping up, the second question was, for service organizations looking to connect with international students, what's the best way to find you? I would say, I think all of us here would be, you know, on Study Melbourne's Facebook page and other, you know, Melbourne, Victoria Facebook pages for international students. I feel like social media is the best way to reach international students because that's how we connect. And I can say that in putting together this panel, I chatted with all the students here through Facebook. So that I think social media is the best way to reach us. And it's a informal, friendly tone. So that's warm and welcoming for all of us. So that's the best way to reach us.